Hi, I'm Patricia Munro, a data sensing leader at Ensemble Enabler and author of the book, A Roadmap for Evaluation. This book explores how feedback loops and dialogue inform decision making to achieve meaningful outcomes. At Ensemble Enabler, I co-create network lab experiences together with organizations to help them unlock the power of networks for innovation, collaboration, and leadership. As HR professionals or heads of business, you know that attracting and retaining top talent is one of the biggest issues today. But despite your best efforts, competitive salaries, career development programs, and employee engagement initiatives, turnover remains a persistent issue. Today, we're going to take a fresh look at talent management, not only as an HR function, but as a network challenge. Organizations aren't just structures with job titles and reporting lines. They are living networks of relationships, trust, and influence. Whether people stay, thrive, or leave isn't just about career paths or salaries. It's about how embedded they are in these networks. Companies like yours invest enormous efforts into hiring, developing, and engaging talent. But what if the key to retention isn't in HR policies alone, but something more fundamental? How relationships form and sustain throughout an organization. This means that the most overlooked driver of retention isn't about compensations policies or even career paths. It's about connection. Recent research confirms this and has highlighted that disconnection and departure of key colleagues are some of the strongest predictors of turnover. In other words, talent retention isn't just an HR challenge, it's a network issue at its core. It's my great privilege to introduce Jeffrey Beeson, author of Network Leadership, a peer-reviewed publication from Cambridge University Press, and founder of Ensemble Enabler. He's a pioneer in network leadership. He helps top business leaders harness the power of networks to navigate complexity, drive innovation, and achieve transformative results. With a background in strategy consulting at Bain & Company and McKinsey, he founded Ensemble Enabler to activate organizations' hidden potential through the insights of network science. His work turns fragmented, siloed enterprises into high-performing networks, delivering results that traditional strategies alone cannot. An engaging speaker and thought leader, Jeffrey challenges conventional thinking and equips leaders with practical strategies to thrive in an area of disruption. Let's talk about network-centric talent management. And Jeff is going to introduce the topic. Jeff?
Thank you, Pat. I'm going to talk about networks, one of my favorite subjects. But first, I want to thank you for being here with us on this executive briefing on network-centric talent management. And before I delve into networks, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and that we're all clear about what a network actually is, because there tend to be some misunderstandings. So let me take a really simple network and show you the various components of it. The postal network is a wonderful example. In the postal network, there are people who send and receive letters. These are the so-called agents in a network. These agents are linked in various ways. Trucks, airplanes, maybe even bicycles transport letters from one location to another. And the final component is the content itself, the actual information conveyed by the letters. So these three elements, people, connections, and information, form the structure of a network. And this simple construct exists everywhere. Network science, a field officially recognized in 2005, has revolutionized our understanding of complex systems. In less than 20 years, it has transformed the way we fight pandemics, the way we understand the human brain. And we've now understood that cancer is a network phenomenon, so it's allowing us to say that perhaps we can conquer cancer in our lifetimes. On a personal front, it's affecting the feed on our social media through the algorithms that are put together by network science. And we're all affected by artificial intelligence, which has been accelerated by network science. So the influence of network science in our daily lives cannot be overstated. But here's why it's critical for talent retention. Network science has revealed that all complex systems are structured around network patterns. Let me repeat that because I think it's a really important conclusion. All complex systems are structured around network patterns. And by the way, human organizations are complex systems. Therefore, organizations are networks. And one of the most profound insights from network science is this. We can't just focus on the people in a network. We must also focus on the connections and the flow of information between them. So for HR, this means that focusing solely on individuals isn't enough. It's important, but not enough. Equally important is the space between individuals, the quality of connections, trust, and the flow of information. This is the realm of connection, and it is just as vital to retention as compensation, career growth, or engagement programs. The research bears this out. In a study you may be familiar with, recently released by the Harvard Business Review, employees who feel a strong sense of belonging, and belonging is a connection issue, are 50% more likely to stay in their jobs. Gallup has corroborated that through a survey where they found that employees who have a best friend at work are 7 times less likely to leave. So retention isn't just about the individual. It's about the network they are embedded in. If we fail to see organizations as networks, we overlook one of the most powerful levers of keeping people engaged and committed. This changes how we think about talent retention entirely. Instead of asking, how do we keep individuals? We need to ask, how do we strengthen the networks that make people want to stay? I've taken a look at the general research in this field, but of course, what's critical for you is how does this play out in my company? So I'm going to ask Pat to take a look at some of the more compelling research conducted within a single company and what has we've learned from that. Pat?
Thanks, Jeff. As someone who is a data science leader, I'm always looking at studies and say, okay, what are they telling us about the information and what kinds of results and insights have they? And I looked at the work that has been done in Microsoft, and they were really looking at the impact of the hybrid world. And they assumed that there's a new dimension of work now. It's called structured, flexible work. And so it describes a new kind of work where people are working in the office, working in a hybrid way near the office, or remote working, but not living in the same location of the organization at all. And they find that this kind of relationships, just like many organizations today, makes it very difficult for individuals to create meaningful connections and relationships. People want to come to the office to socialize with their team members and colleagues, not only for work. And so they in a world of algorithms, hash keys, and followers, the true importance of human connection is really important. And that's what this research confirmed, that this mix of scenarios makes it really hard. And they developed out of their quantitative work that they needed to shape moments that matter. That means they needed to bring people together to strengthen team cohesion, onboarding them to a new role, to a new team, or even to the company itself, or even the beginning of kicking off a project. And that kind of in-person time is extraordinarily important for fostering belonging. So what can HR do right now? How can you begin to address your talent challenge as a network issue, just like Microsoft did? At Ensemble Enabler, we provide a series of tools designed to help organizations activate these networks for retention. And as a network pioneer, Jeff has developed these tools to enable organizations to take the first step to address it from a network perspective. And Jeff is going to talk about two of them today. Jeff?
Thank you, Pat. Yes, I want to present a couple of tools that organizations like yours can implement right away to strengthen your networks inside of your organization. We have various tools available, but these are two particularly powerful tools. And those are network connections, what we call network connections, and network mapping. Network connections is intentional conversations to help extend people's networks inside of your organization. And network mapping basically shows you how people are connected inside of an organization so that you can take action to improve and strengthen the networks that require it. Let me delve in deeper into each of these. So let's take a look at, to start with, network connections. As I said, these are conversations, structured peer-to-peer conversations, typically in smaller groups, and they can happen either in person or virtually. The virtual component allows us to create relationships across geographies and to involve remote work employees as well. And the whole exercise helps to embed employees more deeply into the organizational network. This is important because conversation is the key way that people connect. And when employees engage in meaningful discussions, their relationships deepen and their sense of belonging grows. Let me give you an example of this in action so that you can get a feeling for how this works. A great example of network connections is a company called Interface. Interface is a modular flooring manufacturer, and it had a goal that it wanted to reach, which was to become a net zero emissions company. And how did they do this? Well, they invited employees to contribute ideas for reducing emissions. And they created strong cross-company networks through conversation, inviting employees to bring in any kind of idea they had on how to achieve this goal. And so these conversations spread throughout the organization, and Interface achieved its goal of net zero emissions in 2019. So very advanced, and as a matter of fact, they're continuing this process and now creating a circular economy, which they are aiming to achieve by 2040. So basically, these conversations are designed for impact. They're not just random conversations. They're really about business issues that matter to your organization. So you're basically doing two things at the same time, deepening connections and also soliciting input from your stakeholders and employees throughout your organization. They're structured to address real organizational challenges, making them both engaging and valuable. And they're guided by what we call learning enablers. Learning enablers are internal trained facilitators that ensure the quality of the conversations. They make sure that people have adequate airtime, that everything progresses in a positive manner, and that really the conversation creates engagement. And the interesting part is that the learning enablers also form a network inside of your organization. It's a side effect. I won't delve into it here, but it has also some true benefits for HR as well. So one of the questions, of course, is Isn't this or potentially really difficult to organize? And the answer is no. We have an app that allows people to self-organize and to create these type moments and spaces for this conversation on their own, involving a learning enabler. And by doing so, they take over, it becomes their conversation. It becomes something that they want to do. We also make it voluntary so that it's that people get the sense that this is a conversation that they want to be a part of. And even though not everyone participates, we find that on a voluntary basis, more than 50% of employees are interested in extending their networks and engaging in meaningful conversations. So that is a very powerful attractor for people to get to know other people inside the network and to strengthen those networks inside the organization. So the result of this effort is a more connected and engaged workforce, and certainly one that is more likely to stay, grow, and contribute to the organization's success. Let me talk about network mapping briefly here now. So network mapping, what does it do? What it does is it shines a light on the way work really gets done by making the invisible visible. So you can see how people are connected and how they are working with each other. So it enables organizations to identify at-risk areas and proactively reinforce key connections. So let me give you some examples. It will help you to identify who are the key connectors inside of your organization. These are the people who naturally bridge teams, functions, and ideas, and often are the people you want to make sure you keep, because if they leave, then you could have a whole wave of people leaving as well. The other thing it helps you to do is to pinpoint isolated employees or teams that may feel disconnected, allowing you to take proactive steps to improve inclusion and engagement. It will also highlight potential silos. So there may be groups of people who are really well connected, but they're not well connected, but that group is not well connected to the organization. And that's, of course, also a potential risk. And therefore, by knowing those kind of things, you can also take action. And finally, it reveals gaps in knowledge flow, where information gets stuck or doesn't reach the people who need it most, and allows you to take steps to correct that. So in short, network mapping helps leaders to take targeted action to strengthen collaboration, increase inclusion, and of course, to improve talent retention. The result, a healthier, more connected organization, and one where knowledge flows more openly and where employees have a feeling of being more valued. And of course, it helps leadership to make smarter, more informed decisions. So those are two of the tools that we have that you can implement immediately. One of the things that we know is that these different processes need to be customized to different client requirements. And to do that, we've created what we call a process called Talent Labs. To tell us more about that, here's Pat. Give us an overview of what a Talent Lab is and how this helps to introduce these kind of tools into your organization.
Thanks, Jeff. Talent labs are a low risk, high impact approach to talent retention. Every organization is unique, and a one size fit all approach to talent retention rarely works. And that's why we offer talent labs. They are small, targeted pilot projects that allow companies like yours to explore a network-based approach to retention before making a large-scale commitment. This process is informed by the insights which are gained from the tools that Jeff just illustrated before. Why do you want to do a talent lab? It's good for your budget. It's low invest and high learning. Instead of overhauling your entire processes, Talent Labs offers a focused way to test what works in your specific organizational context. My background in feedback loops and design thinking have influenced the design of the talent labs. So it's a rapid, adaptable process that creates fast results that you can work on. And in the way we do it, we reveal key network patterns that affect retention, engagement, and knowledge flow in your organization. There's a minimal risk because it's small, and companies can fine-tune their approach through the results before scaling it successfully throughout the organization. And it has built-in adaptability. They're designed to integrate seamlessly with your existing initiatives, making it easier to align with company culture and priorities. So how does it work? Of course, you have to have a purpose for a talent lab, what you want to accomplish. You have to define your goals so that we know exactly where we're going. You have to get your pilot group within your organization, and then apply our network-based tools like network mapping and network connections, which Jeff just talked about, to uncover hidden dynamics. And those hidden dynamics help shape the flow and the design of a talent lab, which then result in key findings and co-create actionable strategies for your organization. And you only have to scale what works. So you ensure maximum impact with minimal disruption. We have enough disruption today. We don't need any more. So by making these invisible connections within your workforce visible and actionable, talent labs empower you as HR leaders to strengthen retention, enhance your engagement of your employees, and build a more resilient organization. And the benefit, it's all low risk and high reward. So we started this conversation with a simple but pressing question. Why do people leave? What we've uncovered is a powerful shift in perspective. Retention isn't just about the individual, but about the networks they are embedded in. If we want to keep top talent, we need to shift from thinking only in terms of managing people to start cultivating the strong connections between them. This mindset shift from HR as a function of policies and programs to a steward of networks changes everything. When you focus on strengthening the invisible web of relationships, trust, and collaboration in your organization, retention becomes not just a challenge, but an opportunity. Have any questions about network-centric talent management? Jeffrey and I would be delighted to have a non-binding conversation with you to see how we can help you keep your talent and even get new ones. Take a look at the same time at networkleadership.au, which introduces Jeff's book about network leadership to you. Thank you so much for taking some of your valuable time today to watching this video. And we send our best greetings from Munich and look forward to hearing from you.